In a minute.
And now we have arrived at our last speaker for today, which is Andreas Rudo, and he's part of the Bagni Popolare. He's collaborating on a commons thermal spa just over the border from Germany. So they got a spa together and they revitalized it. And it's a beautiful story of how you can kind of make thermal water accessible to everybody for free. So please, Andreas, take us along the story of the Bagni Popolare.
Oops. Hopefully this is the right. Are you seeing now the my presentation is touching the commoning of thermal water and as well of bathing culture. And I am part of an association, Bagni Popolari, from the core group. We are not organized too much, but we are all the active members, or from the core group are several people, and I'm representing them with this presentation. Actually, we already heard about bathing culture aspects from Astrid Köhler's talk, and she already has shown historical background of the topic in Central Europe, and also our little town Baden near Zurich is such a historical spa town with thermal water of 47 degrees. And I just want to go through the historical background and focus a bit more on the Middle Ages that were not covered so much in Astrid Köhler's talk. Actually, we do not know about the early history before the Romans, but I assume that there must have been also Celts using these hot springs that we have, and the region was settled by the Celtic tribe of the Helvetii, and so probably they were the predecessors of the Romans, and they then established settlements and also used the thermal water by building basins. After that, there is low information about the early Middle Ages, and population density was very low. So actually there is not much left from this time. But then in the Middle Ages, in the Middle Ages, large-scale settlement happened all over Switzerland and all over plateau of Switzerland. And also many towns were founded in this time. And Baden became Tagsatzungsort, which is sort of the seat of the earliest confederation of the Swiss cantons. And most probably the people, they enjoyed having their meetings together with bathing. And so you see there is a time of about 700 years where this bathing culture developed more and more. It was not always the Tagsatzungsort, but iteratively coming back to this. And here are some impressions. Later, it's the end of the Middle Ages or already newer times, but it shows how the bathing went in this time. People came together and the basins were open and there were free access basins. We have in the center of this spa quarter in Baden, we have a place, the Kurplatz, with two of these already Roman basins, which were then used also in the Middle Ages. You see here the Verenabad and the Freibad, and some impressions of how people have bathed together they spent a long time in the bath, others just watched. There was eating, playing music, talking, and so on in the baths. We have the term of Badenfahrt. In the surroundings of Baden, also Zurich, people came to they came to Baden mostly by ship or by and in later times by earliest railway. But yeah, this Badenfahrt showed that the influence of Baden covered quite a large region all over plateau of Switzerland. And now our association, actually we were formed after the demolition of the last public spa. It was called New Verenabad. It was by the architect of Klaus. It was built in the 60s actually, or early 60s. And 2012 it was destroyed in order to realize a new one. But what we found out then is that there was no plan actually of how to use the water and keep it accessible to this public in the meanwhile. And as you see, there were 10 years went through without having any access, or it was obvious that there will be no access for a long time. And so we started initiatives. We started as a small group. We call us a self-help group of thermal enthusiasts or thermal water lovers. And yeah, the initiatives covered several different projects. Actually, in the very beginning, 2012, we just wanted to find out where the water actually flows. Where does it go? It was nothing was visible anymore. The old baths was destroyed, and the thermal water just went somewhere underground directly to the river. And so we found out. We opened all the possible, how do you call this, decal of the canals, and found out where it was and how to get it and so on. And in the beginning, only in a hidden way, we just installed pools for nocturnal baths. It had to be hidden. It was too difficult to discuss too much. We wanted really to to create facts. Actually, from the people, it was called then guerrilla badly, what we did, but the guerrilla phase was not too long. Actually, more and more the people of Baden, they recognized, oh, there is a sort of public bathing in the public space, but it was only overnight, and in the morning the pools were removed and nothing was visible anymore. But people knew more and more, and in 2015 we started to build larger, massive pools for festivals, only for a few days or a week, but we really built them on the Kurplatz, where actually also the traditional Roman and medieval baths were. And in parallel, we started with a project like we called water games or Wasserspiele, just to make visible the water, that it should not disappear completely from consciousness of the public. So this was the main goal. And together with this, or influenced by this, we learned that it should be possible to also build permanent hot springs with free access to the public, so-called heiße Brunnen. And these were then following up projects that we could realize. So in this time, we could use an empty spa, which then turned out to be our last project. But now, this is just the overview. I want to visualize a bit what this was about. Guerilla Badly, for example, looked like this. Just somewhere on very different places, we experienced how it is to build a pool in a very simple way. You see here how we build one in the evening on the Limmat Promenade, which is situated in this quarter where the thermal water flows, and how such a event of a guerilla badly happened. Then everyone brought something to eat, something to drink. Sometimes someone played music or whatever. So it was very a social aspect of about, during one night, of about 50 to 100 people coming there for a bath. And from this, combined with these festivals we have in Baden, it's a cultural town, Baden, and so we have different festivals like Fantoche, Animation Film Festival, or Kultur, yeah, just different festivals. We dared to build a larger pool on the Kurplatz. Actually, the picture you see here is exactly situated on the shape of the historical Verena Bad that was built by the Romans. It's down there in the ground, 2 meters below. The actual floor is the Roman, has been the Roman bath, and it's still there in the ground, but it's covered. And so we used this shape for our first Verena Bad. But we did several all over the place on different sites. We experienced such many days, massive pools with cultural events, with concerts or with showing films. Here you have some impressions from on the Kurplatz or on the Limmat Promenade under a bridge, which was a very nice place, because even if it rained, you stayed dry, or your clothes aside stayed dry. And besides that, I mentioned the Wasserspiele. In the beginning, we just planned to have channels to show the water, to let it flow somewhere all around the quarter, and have some ponds or some of these springs. In the beginning, they were built in wood, and more people took the occasion to bath in these wooden springs. And so, yeah, from a very amateur-like beginning, we experienced more and more how to build them and what is important also for the social behavior and for the social well-being, that people felt fine if they took a bath. There was not much infrastructure, because actually these are just sort of fountains and not a bath. So people just went there on their own and not coordinated. And this was very much accepted by the public, and it influenced, or it forced us, or no, it convinced us that a more permanent construction would be necessary. And from this, the idea arose to build such heiße Brunnen. This is one of the first visualizations we had in order to convince people from the town, city administration, and so on. And yeah, finally we found on the one hand the institution we have still, so-called Ortsbürgergemeinden. This is in parallel to the political community. We have the ancient communities, the Ortsbürgergemeinden. They have still some buildings, and in our case, they had some thermal water rights. and they gave to us in order to build this brunnen. Actually, they also paid the construction and then handed over the Heißebrunnen to the political community. And the result is that we had on both sides, on the river in Baden and in Ennetbaden, then constructed such Heißebrunnen, on the left in Baden, on the right in Ennetbaden, because this Ennetbaden is a separate municipality, political community, and they wished to have a similar project, and so it was very easy to copy. It's completely different there. The situation is different. As you see, the place there is different. Also, the construction is different. On the left, it's built with concrete. Actually, with concrete, including historic material from the excavation of the Roman baths that is integrated in this concrete, and on the right hand it's a natural sandstone that was used. But yeah, this is just construction details. But we were very glad, and since then, since about already 5 years now, or 4.5 years, the public is very happy about these Heißebrunnen, and they are all the time used. Even in summer, if it's hot and you don't feel really to sit in 40 degrees water, there is no time without people in one or both of these Heißebrunnen. Actually, here you have an overview of all the initiatives. You see where we started with the guerrilla battle in pink, and then where we realized some Wasserspiele and some Verena-Bäder, the larger basins or pools. And what you also see here is, now I'm not sure whether you see my mouse, probably, yeah. Do you see it? The pointer?
Yes, we see your curve. Yeah.
Okay. What you see here is the white is a building. Right here is the Kurplatz. This would be the situation of the ancient Roman basin on the Kurplatz. Here has been the Freibad, right close to this building, which was an ancient bath or spa in medieval times. In this time, it was called the Bad zum Raben, and it's really in the middle of the thermal zone of this thermal bath quarter of Baden. And actually, this is related to a following up project, the Bad zum Raben, which I will say something a bit later on. First, I will come to the topic of the commoning aspects, commoning the thermal water and the bathing cultures. You see the goals of our association. Actually, already in the beginning, even if we did not know where the journey is going, we formulated in our statutes that we want to research, maintain, and further develop the 2,000-year-old communal bathing tradition in public thermal baths in Baden. And
Andreas, I don't want to be rude. Would you be able to take 5 minutes to summarize the lecture? I think it's very fascinating, but also we're running a bit out of time, and it's just such a fantastic project. But if you have 5 more minutes, that would be great.
Yeah, it's okay to me. There's not so many slides anymore. Okay, so I just say some words on this principle. The public access is very important, and that the water is really pure natural thermal water, and not as you have today in all these huge spa buildings that are focusing rather on wellness than on well-being, where you don't find so much natural thermal water. Then we wanted to follow the historical common use. There is a nice term I like very much, the social sculpture. Actually, with this with the Heiße Brunnen, we could sort of create a living social sculpture in the public space, because it's always used and always something is happening there. And the last important aspect is also that we want to combine all these bathing and health aspects with arts and culture, and with the communication of bathing culture, in order to revitalize, revive this bathing culture aspect. And now for the end, I just come to our last project, which is this old building in the very center, the Bad zum Raben. And on the top left, you see our inspiration is not from this building, but it's an illustration of another spa in Baden. And we just wanted to to follow this bathing culture, having larger basins where people can meet, where people can talk. Let's say 20 to 30 people can sit together in the pool. And on the lower side, you see the visualizations of how we imagine what is possible with 2 basins within this old building. Actually, in the meanwhile, we had the occasion, because we could use it as our home base. The owner, or the earlier owner, left it to us. Beforehand, it was 20 years, it was not used anymore, and so we could experience a bit all these combinations of bathing and arts and culture. I don't say much more, but here I conclude with some experience. Actually, an important point for us is that somehow the forgotten commons, they must be brought back to awareness. Otherwise, people will not be able to choose this choice. And we had received a very nice laudatio to our Heiße Brunnen, that we are giving back to the people of Baden and to the whole region what the name of the small town Baden is promising, that you really can bath there. And another experience is that it's all an iterative process. We heard already in the other talk that there is needed sort of a laboratory in order to vitalize this commoning of the bathing culture. And we're experienced that we are that it works very well if we, from the beginning, we try to do all processes with participation. So we have about 500 members in the association, or sympathizants, and 800 in the cooperative that now could buy the Bad zum Raben. But still, financing of building and renovating now the Bad zum Raben is a huge challenge and a balancing act, as in all commons management projects, I think. So that's all. Thank you for your attention, and of course, thank to all sympathizers and contributors to our projects. Thank you.
Hugely inspiring, Andreas. Thank you very much for this presentation.
Welcome.
Can't wait to visit and use the baths.
Yeah, you are all welcome. Actually, we are not well. The Heißebrunnen are open anyway now. You just can come here and use them. And the Bad zum Raben, it's only a temporarily use until we are able to renovate and build it according to these principles we have to make it more accessible to more people. And
Yeah, bravo. Great. Thank you. Thanks again. Have a great evening. Thank you.